Hello, y'all on YouTube. This is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a Rob's Rambling. Kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about the question that sometimes you may get, that I may get. It's like, you're too obsessed. You're too obsessed with knives. You talk about them all the time, nonstop, over and over. What's the deal? I mean, seriously, can't you stop? You need to stop, please. It's all the time. You're always looking at knives. You're always talking about knives. You're looking at knife channels. Looking at knife reviews, looking at knives, looking them up, reading about them, understanding them. You're looking at steel, different types of steels, different types of handles, different types of designs, different types of locks, whatever. All the time, all the time. I don't know about you, but I've gotten that comment from family and friends that I'm a little bit obsessed. And yeah, probably so. I don't doubt it. You know, that's part of the knife community. It's part of being into knives, is that whole experience with knives and enjoying it and appreciating them and everything about them. And once you get into them, you know, it becomes a passion because you see all the different things that are out there. I mean, just look at here. This is a small sampling of just so many different things. We're talking from budget to, you know, very expensive knives here. We're talking about different things that make up these knives that make this just really fantastic. And it's easy to get, to me at least, to be obsessed because of all the engineering, the design, the aesthetics, the process that's involved. Some of the things here could look so simple, and yet they're the most meticulously handmade things. And some of them here look so complex, and they're the most, you know, complex machine milled things, you know, and then assembling it and bringing it all together and making that knife work and work well for what you want it to do. That, to me, yeah, it's something to be obsessed about, something to be getting into and enjoy. And for me, you know, you can call it an obsession. I call it a passion. I call it something I enjoy. I call it something that I really get into, something that I can relate to, something that brings me joy, something that stimulates my mind, my brain. You know, I like to, it almost feels like it itches the brain, you know, when you learn something new, something cool, and then you see it, how it works, and you see it work well, and you see it function as it's designed, and you get it, you kind of get to follow their design and their intent. It's so cool. It really is. So yeah, I'm over the top. I sure am. No doubt about it all. Definitely over the top about these things and these knives. There's no question about it. But the question really is, you know, when you have that passion and you're over the top, you know, how does that work? How does that come out in the way that you know, buy knives, you enjoy knives, you carry knives, you talk about knives? So I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this. Have you ever been, you know, accused of being over the top? Have you ever accused of being nonstop obsessed? Have you ever been accused of, you know, someone asked you a question and they felt like they wanted a trickle, but you opened up a fire hose on them? I don't know if you guys can relate to that. Have you ever had that? Or you talk to another knife person and you ask them a question and they give you a simple answer, but then you keep asking for more, and they're like, what you really want to know? And then they start talking and you get into it and you're like, wait a second, this person really enjoys knives. And I mean, I don't know. That's what I've heard knife shows are about. It's, you know, people get into the design and the aesthetics and all that stuff, and there's so much that goes on there, and collaborations occur and all sorts of stuff. My cat is making noise, so I apologize. But anyways, all that stuff, you know, happens. And I kind of, that's why I like some of the live streams, because sometimes we get to talk about knives. I get to talk about knives. People ask me questions. I ask them questions. I get to hear people's perspective. And to me, that's exciting. You know, I love to see the live streams when there are different knife people together and they talk about knives. That's, to me, is really cool. Now, I know some people want to dumb it down and they don't want to talk shop, but you know, all right, Oscar. Sorry, it's my cat. They want to talk about knives all the time, you know, and I think it's cool. So you go to those knife shows and live streams and everyone's talking about knives. Everyone's talking about different exciting things. And to me, that's exciting. I don't know. I want to go to the knife show. I've yet to go. We've had a Texas Blade show that twice I've missed, and I've really wanted to go. And I've done it out of intention, because I know if I go, I will probably get myself in trouble and buy more things than I should. and probably spend more money than I have and get way more obsessed about things than I should ever be obsessed, right? So I've tried to do that to kind of pull the reins back on my enjoyment of knives, but to make sure that I pace myself a little bit, because I can get pretty intense. I'm not normally an intense kind of person. And if you haven't figured that out already, I mean, Rob's Nerdy Knives. I'm a nerd about knives, so come on. You know, nerds tend to kind of go over the top a bit. We tend to really get into it way more than probably the average person, right? And we tend to dive head first all the way under. And yeah, that's me. You know, I don't pretend that I'm an expert in everything. I am not. I don't even pretend to be an expert in some things. I just pretend to know just enough to be dangerous in a lot of things, okay? So there are things I'm an expert in my field where I work, but that is neither here or there. And this here, I am not an expert. This is a passion. This is something I enjoy. I love talking about steels. I mean, like right here alone, we have 20 CV steel. We have MagnaCut. We have S35 VN. We have, what else do we have? M390. We have, what else do we have here? I think, well, that might be it. Elmax, yeah. So, you know, those are the ones that we have. Let's see, what is this? No, 20 CV. Oh, I thought it was Elmax. Yeah, I mean, I have Elmax. I have a bunch of other steels, but here, I mean, that's 20 CV, M90, M390, 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 20 CV, S35 VN. Is it S35, I think? Yep, S35 VN. And this is S35 VN, and then M390, M390, and then this is MagnaCut. So anyways, I like talking about steels. I get over the top, you know. I like to talk about the properties, super steels as opposed to a premium steel, and edge retention, you know, ease of sharpening, toughness, corrosion resistance, the 4 factors, right? I like that. I like talking about the different types of materials for the scales. We have carbon fiber inlay. We have a custom fat carbon. We have twill pattern carbon fiber that's milled. We have titanium that's contoured or jigged or textured, and also textured for more microfine textured. We have JG10, you know, and that can be, you know, with a titanium, you know, deep pocket carry clip and titanium backspacers and liners. You know, that can also be dyed different colors, right? So that's the joy of that. And then you have aluminum here, you know, and an automatic. That's just so much fun to have, an automatic McNeese, right? All these things are just really cool things, and I can go over the top on there. And I can talk nonstop. And I think if you're watching this channel, you're probably a little into knives, or you're getting into knives, or you want to know something specific about knives. Or you're entertained about how people are into knives and you can't relate, but you think it's funny. So either way, I appreciate you watching, because if I bring you a chuckle, that's cool, because, you know, I enjoy it, and, you know, I'm not apologetic or feel bad about it because I'm really into it. I enjoy this, and if you think it's funny, that's fine. I love my wife, and she's into certain things. She loves frogs. I think it's cute. I think it's fascinating. I think it's interesting. I don't dog her or diss her or anything like that. I just think that's her thing, right? So sometimes it's fun watching someone who's really into something because you learn something from them, but you're not necessarily as much into it. And perhaps, you know, that's a way for you to have enough exposure to something that you don't have to learn and really get into it in a crazy way in order to get that same information, because you know someone who has that information. Maybe that's what I am to you, and hopefully that's the case. I know there's a lot of other knife reviewers and knife channels that I enjoy watching, and I get that out of them. For instance, I learned so much from Neves Knives with sharpening. I mean, he does a lot of testing on sharpening and steel, and, you know, just a slew of information from there. You know, then there's Metal Complex, and he talks about the aesthetics of the high-end knives. He talks about the steels, Damasteel, Timascus, zirconium, and all this other stuff that I probably will never really get into, but I enjoy watching. It's stuff that I'm exposed to so that I learn about things. One of the greatest episodes, it was a knife guy, he talked about you don't have to buy all the knives that everyone has. You don't have to buy knives that people tell you should get. You don't have to get the knives. You know, like they usually talk about the Holy Trinity. I believe it's a Rick Hinder, it's a Strider, and it is Rick Hinder, Strider, and what's the other one? Oh my gosh. Rick Hinder, Strider, and I went blank for a second. I am so sorry. You guys comment down below. You know, I'm sure someone will. Someone will say, "Oh, it's Medford." No, it's not Medford. It's somebody else. And as soon as it pops to me, I'm going to be like, "Oh, I'm an idiot." But anyways, I'm not really into those. Oh, Chris Reeve knives. Chris Reeve knives. Yeah. So Chris Reeve knives, Rick Hinderer, and oh my gosh, now I forgot. That's hilarious. Okay, so the reason why I know the Holy Trinity, but I don't. I've owned some of those knives. Actually, yeah, I've owned each one of those knives, but I don't have them because they're not my cup of tea. I don't care for Strider. I've handled them, held them. Rick Hinderer had a Jurassic, liked it. It just wasn't for me. In the end, I realized, you know, this is not a knife that I enjoy. It just didn't fit my aesthetics and my ergos, right? The Chris Reeve Unumzam, love that knife. Everything was beautiful. It's an awesome looking knife. It's a great knife. If you have it and you love it, enjoy it. It's a great knife. I will recommend that knife all day long, okay? But it's not for me, right? It's not my cup of tea, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be. A lot of these here are my cup of tea. And some of them were surprises. I didn't expect them to be my cup of tea. You know, I wasn't a huge Nimble fan. The first time I bought an EMP by EDC Nimble, which this is not. This is a relative. It's in that design vein. But I got those, and they didn't fit my hand. And the little flipper part that was here, when I would drop the knife, it would catch on my thumb, and I wouldn't clear it. And when I cleared it, it would get so far that this would cut me. And I didn't like that. And it's because I got big, meaty fingers, right? I don't have little skinny, dainty fingers. And so it didn't work well with my hands and the way I would handle the knife. And so I ended up selling it. Beautiful knife, great knife, recommend it all day long. It's fantastic. Then he made this relative, and oh my gosh, this is the greatest knife design he has made yet. I love this thing. Now, I am expecting a Nimble X, so we'll see if it can topple this one. But this one right now, that's pretty high up there, right? But I love the design on this. It's perfect. Everything that I enjoy in a knife is this, right? So, you know, it wasn't my cup of tea at first. And the Penguin, you know, it's a Wharncliffe. I wasn't a big fan, but then when I got it and I tuned it and I saw this Jig Titanium M390, I was like, I love this thing, right? This thing is, I avoided this at all costs. I knew when the Sagai pattern came out from Urban EDC, and I said never. And then they came out with this and had a huge sale, so much so that I thought, yeah, I'll try it. Sure, why not? And I did. And you know what? Oh my gosh. Yes, this was amazing, is amazing. Fantastic knife. I can't recommend this enough. I wish I had gotten in it sooner. I just didn't get a chance to handle it. But this is a great knife, you know? And now I can talk about the ergonomics. I get the single flip, but I can also middle finger flick it. So I really have multiple deployments. But I can get into it. I can talk about why it works. And, you know, being just a fuller, you wouldn't think it would. But there's so many good things about this and the way it's executed. The Dan Carr. Now, some people are not going to like this because it's a small knife, but it's executed really, really well if you know how to manipulate the knife. You know, I did a little short just, I think, recently, where, you know, if you have big old meaty hands, this is hard to deal with if you come at it like a regular knife. But if you use your clip and as it's intended and you clear your hand, the flip part works really great. And if you use your deep mill pocket carry clip, the reverse flick is really great, right? And then if you hold it just nice, it flips like with the front flip really great, just like a Pena, really, like a Pena Trapper or something like I have. It's really great. And then you have to know where the detent is. It has to clear the detent right there. So you know how to get past that. And that's usually right there where it catches on my finger. So it works fantastic. So for me, this is a great knife. I enjoy it, right? When I got the Wee Banter at first, I mean, I could talk on and on about this, but I didn't like it. I had a carbon fiber one. I got rid of it. I sold it. And then when I found out about these Unlock composites, these are like scales made by this guy called Unlock Composites. Check them out. They have them for the Baby Banter, the Wee Banter. He's making them for the Big Banter, not out yet. He's making it for the Lander, not out yet. But he has a bunch for Benchmade. He has a bunch for Kaiser. Just really, really cool. But this had a cutaway to get to the liner lock, which is what made this knife so uncomfortable. It would hurt my fingers because I got big, meaty fingers. I can't get to a liner lock with that little itty bitty space. But when they had more relief cut, man, this makes it such a different knife and a completely new knife. This makes it a great knife experience. For me, this went from being like a kind of a nice idea, good design, but uncomfortable in the end, and I just didn't like it, and I got rid of it, to I can flick this all day long, carry it all day long, and I really, really, really like this all day long. This is now a great design. Contoured, everything's just so comfortable. Man, this is how you make something fantastic, right? Then there's a Brian Brown, the Trogon by WE. I think one of WE's best designs out. Now, I haven't gotten some of the other ones, the Ziphius and some of the other ones that are out, and I haven't had a chance to, because those were limited and they were very expensive. And when they did come out, I'd already tied up all my funds and I couldn't look at getting it. But I'm okay with that, because it wasn't really quite my aesthetic. And you know what? As much as I wanted to get it, as great of a button lock as it was, and all the things I heard about it, if I can't look at that light knife and go, I like that. I like the way it looks. That's my cup of tea. It's not for me. That's okay. It's not for me. You don't have to do that. You don't have to like a knife like that. That's why I can talk about these knives, because they are for me. They're aesthetics that I enjoy, I can connect with. This Javi Garcia and Enrique Pena X Series knife, this is called Alacran. Hasn't been released to all the knife manufacturers yet. He had a drop on Javi Garcia's site. These were some early releases. I got a hold of it. It's really great, and it's going to be coming out there. And so if you haven't seen this, that's why, but it will be coming. It's a front flipper like a typical X Series Pena, but the thumb studs right here are placed so perfectly. This ramp, it deploys perfectly. The same in the back, deploys perfectly. And then the blade shape, this is technically a drop point or spear point, I guess you could say. Maybe a spear point, maybe a drop point, I don't know, because it comes over and drops. So modified, whatever, but it almost has a Tanto look without the corner, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's just it's one of my favorite blade designs. I love this shape for some reason. This blade shape really, really speaks to me, and I hope to see more like this. But anyways, that is something that I can really connect with and enjoy with my hand and my size. I mean, it's a larger knife. This is fantastic. I heard about the McNeese, was a big fan, wanted to get one of these, and I finally was able to get this. This is the 3.5. The 3 was too small, so I got this, deployed it. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. USA made. I mean, this, you know, if you're USA only, this is it right here. This is great. This is definitely one of those that you want to look at getting. USA made right here. Really, really like this. But it works so great. Stronger and faster than the ProTech. And I love my ProTech. I have a TR3. Got an anniversary present. One of my favorite knives, MagnaCut. But this is MagnaCut to 53, 54 Rockwell hardness, hollow grind. And we could talk about the engineering and the design of a hollow grind and why that makes it a nice slicer. And it's got a swedge on top so you can curve and turn your blade as well, you know, and talk about the science behind a swedge. Why is there a swedge? Is there a purpose in a swedge? It is. It's not just only an aesthetic. There's really a reason for it, you know, and there's a reason for a hollow grind. And look at that tip and how strong that tip comes up, right? So it gets pokey, but with the sliciness, it's just really fantastic. And just really, really great. So yeah, I'm over the top. Yeah, I'm a kind of over crazy nut person about knives because there's so much you can talk about. There's so much science, so much engineering, so much design, so much aesthetics. This is a QSP. In and of itself, it's a great budget knife, but Traditional Pocket Knives came out with this fantastic version, jigged titanium scales, which is unique, mill deep pocket carry clip, and then M390 blade steel, and really great cost and great function. I have the Mini, and I have this, and I've got the Penguin Plus on order coming in. So I'll have the whole set, by the way, and you can get that at Traditional Pocket Knives. I really recommend those guys. They're great guys, by the way. I spoke to them. You know, some of these guys are just really fantastic. There's so many good people in the knife community, including the retailers. They're really good people out there. Got several of these at, let's say, White Mountain Knives. Fantastic. Got them directly through Javi Garcia. Some of them I got directly through EMP by EDC. Some of them what else did I get? I got this through Smoky Mountain Knife Works, you know. Got this through Dan Carrier. He's an actual professional golfer who designed some knives. And this is a production series of some of his customs. His customs are fantastic. Very expensive and out of my price range, but he made some production runs. Got Bestech to produce these, and they are done so well. Contoured scales. It's really a fantastic knife and a beautiful design. At first I thought, nah, it's not for me. But then when I got it, I mean, I don't know. It really worked and it spoke to me. You know, it's not normally up my wheelhouse, but this works for me. this just fits and just is enjoyable. I don't know if it's because I've expanded my aesthetics or because I can appreciate the engineering and how it works and functions. The same with Quiet Carry. I have loved a lot of their stuff. There's a few things I'm not a huge fan of, and those are just design, execution, and decisions they've made, and they're great for other folks, but they're just not my aesthetic, and that's okay. I don't have to love everything. I can appreciate everything that they do because they do it so well. I don't have to love it, right? You know, there's things that people don't love about some of these other knives and manufacturers, and that's okay. You don't have to, but you can appreciate some of those things. But I can talk about it all day long. I can talk about, you know, the engineering and the milling and the design and then the inlay and how that works beautifully and gives you texture and this big, beautiful flat grind. Well, this almost looks like a hand rubbed satin, but it's not. Just beautiful blade finish and everything. And the action on this is just so fantastic, and it's fidgety and it's fun, you know, and you could just be here all day long. I could just sit here all day long just flipping this knife all day long to the point that it annoys people to death, right? But I could tell you why it's fidgety. I can tell you why it's comfortable. I can tell you the design, the cutout, how where the pivot or where the thumb stud is relative to the pivot and how it deploys comfortably and gives you just beautiful, what they call, you know, actuation or opening of the knife, right? It's just really a lot of fun. There's just so much about it and how well it all fits together, how the spacer and it's perfectly lined up and, you know, is in there nice and solid, not rocking or anything, just beautiful blade. Yeah, I'm over the top. There's no doubt. And I think if there's something that you really loved and enjoyed, you would be too. And maybe some of you guys have been into knives for a long time and you can completely relate. Maybe some of you guys are just getting into knives and you're starting to kind of go, oh yeah, I can sort of see that. Maybe some of you guys just are looking for a knife and going, well, that's an interesting knife. I need one new knife and that's all you want. And that's okay too, right? And if I'm helping you find that by looking at this, awesome. If you get entertained by this, awesome. You know, if you can relate to some of this, cool. You know, then we can kind of have a conversation. We can talk about it. We can be knife, friends, knife, on a knife nights, if you will, on a quest for our blade of, conquest, whatever, Yeah, that's a kind of interesting thought. Knife nights, on our quest for blades. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Anyways, it's just something I came up with. I don't know if anybody's ever thought of that, but I like the way it sounded and the way that's coming out. I have an idea going now. Anyways, sorry, just I got to file that idea away for something, but I like that idea. So, this would be just kind of a cool thing to do, talk about knives. So, well, if you have enjoyed this, if you can relate, please comment down below, share your story. I would love to hear it. I really do read just about every comment. I don't think I've missed any, but if I have, I'm sorry, but I try to read every comment and reply to everyone. Because, I appreciate you guys, those who watch and enjoy the videos, those who subscribe, those who comment. It means a lot, and I really do appreciate that. I want you to know that. You guys make this channel fun. You make this whole thing fun. Yeah, I would do all this if no one subscribed, if no one watched. I would be doing this without the camera. Yeah, no doubt. But this is a way to share and talk about it, and it seems to connect with other folks because I connect with them and you connect with me. I get a lot out of it. I probably get more out of it than probably than you guys, and so I appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for allowing me to enjoy this hobby by sharing it with you. So that's cool. But I love to hear the stories, and some of you guys have come up with some great stories. I really do appreciate that. So there's that. Anyway, so that's my thought on this. If you've ever been accused of being over the top, nonstop, knives all the time, if that's you and you can relate, hey, I'm one of you. We're brother in arms, right? We're brother in knives, if you will. We can relate to one another. So I just want you to know you're not alone and you're not weird. You're just passionate. You're passionate about something I think is logical to be passionate about, because this is knives have been around since the beginning of time. People have had to skin food, cut things, cut vegetables, cut trees, vines, whatever. They've had to cut things, and whether they used a flint knife, they used a steel knife, they used, some other type of knife, they have been around forever, and they're so important.
and they will continue to be. And they're still great tools. Every one of these I would use, I would carry, I have carried, I have used, I would use for whatever. And that's my perspective on this channel. If you didn't know that, every knife I have, I carry, and I want to carry. I don't collect just to collect. I'm not at that point in my knife journey yet. Maybe someday I'll be there, and I know some of you guys are, and that's totally cool. Some people buy knives to collect for their collection. I respect that. That is your choice and your right to do so. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise, right? But some of you guys buy 1 or 2 knives because you beat the heck out of it till it dies and you buy a new one. Totally cool. If that's your perspective, that's totally cool. I like to have a choice of knives. Try not to have too many, but I like to have a choice of knives. I sell some so I can buy some more, because sometimes there's some cool new design and there's one that I find that I'm not connecting with as much, right? Some of them I do connect with, and I realize they stay in my collection, for a long time or permanently. But some knives don't, and that allows me to check out other knives. Every one of these I want to use, I want to carry, I want to do something with. Every single one of these knives I have carried and used, right? Every single one of these I've carried and used, every one of them. None of these are just show knives. They are user knives. So I just want you to know that's where my perspective is. And when I added something to my collection, that's how I always think about it. Now, I will say thanks to you guys subscribing. Recently, we've had the chance of getting a knife that was added to the collection I didn't buy. This came from Artisan Cutlery. It's a really excellent budget knife. It is a knife I would buy as a gift, and I have bought it as a gift, okay? This is a knife, if I didn't have other knives, I would probably buy this and use this. But I have a lot of other knives. And so this is not necessarily one I would, but if I'm giving a gift and I'm not going to be spending a lot of money, right? $50, right? A little more. This is a great gift. This is a fantastic budget knife, probably one of the best buys out there. And I got a chance to get this before it got released, or right as it got released, to do an unboxing. I'm going to be doing a review. And guess what? Once we're done, this is going to be a giveaway on our channel, thanks to Artisan Cutlery. So we're going to have a giveaway. Isn't that cool? Because of you guys subscribing, you guys being part of the channel, we have stuff to give away. We have more stuff that we can share, and I can share with you guys. This is not so I collect it for me, but it's so I can share with you guys. I just wanted you to know that. That's what this passion and this going over the top and knife nut stuff has led to. Now that I have another knife for another giveaway, and I can't wait to have that giveaway. I just got to finish the review because I got to carry it for a little bit, and I really got to earnestly review it. And I told them I would be honest with it, right? I got to tell you, I've already had the Pyrite with the button lock that wasn't the Wharncliffe and didn't have the fuller hole or thumb hole or, fuller thumb finger relief, whatever you want to call this. Somebody said this officially a thumb hole. Fine, Spidey hole, thumb hole, fuller hole, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It's cool to flick with, right? I like it. But I love that knife. It was my knife of the year in 2022. And this is a fantastic iteration of it. I really do like it. So I think it's going to be a good review. I really do. But I will be critical and say my good and my bad. And I gotta be honest. Not because we got the knife, they gave it to us. I refuse to allow that to taint my view, but it is a heck of a knife. It really is. And that's what I can appreciate. And you know why? I can talk about why it's a heck of a knife. Yeah, it's steel. There's different things yeah. But when you're talking a budget of 50, it's a different way to look at a knife as opposed to when you're talking a budget of 120, right? There's a different way to look at a knife, right? As you're talking a budget of 189, it's a different way to look at a knife. There's always different ways to look at knives depending on what you're looking at, right? And how you're looking at it. So that's my thoughts on that. So going over the top leads to good things sometimes, I think. And I think it leads to good things on this channel and good things to those of you guys who watch and subscribe. And I appreciate you all. So you'll hear about the upcoming giveaway. Maybe I'll even have a giveaway before that giveaway, just a regular giveaway, because I thought of doing that because we've been growing pretty well. And we're up to 1,410 or 1,420 subscribers now. So that's crazy. I'm blown away. More people are signing up and watching. So thank you. But we'll probably do another giveaway just to say, hey, thank you and appreciate that. Because I've got some nice budget knives that I would love to give away. Because I'll be honest with you, I've bought some with the intention of giving them away as a gift, as a giveaway, because I appreciate you guys. It's my way of saying thank you to you. So that's how I look at it, and hopefully you see it that way, because that's what it's intended to be. That being said, that really is my Rob's Rambling, and it's in true vein of my rambling. It went all over the place, kind of came back, went over the place, and kind of came back again. And so you either really enjoy this, or you got frustrated and you're not listening right now, or you probably laughed and maybe spit a little coffee out through your nose or something. Who knows? But there you go. But hey, thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this, found it entertaining, informative, or just got something out of it, would you consider hitting the like button down below? I sure would appreciate that. If you've already hit the like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. I would appreciate that as well. Subscribing and liking really, really helps this channel, helps us to be able to do more content, to do more with the channel. So please consider doing that. And if you've already subscribed, maybe hit the notification button so you can be notified of other future content as it's dropped. And if you've done all that, maybe you want to check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. That's robs_nerdy_knives on Instagram. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.